Hey everybody, welcome to MarkWHO77. Yeah, MarkWHO77, the great show from 77 Publishing and MarkWHO42, where we talk to comic book creators all around the world. No, we talk to comic creators in Great Britain. That's what we do. With me is Vicky Jakubowski and Ben Cullis. Hi guys, how you doing this week?
Hi.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Vicky.
Hey, we had a great show last week, didn't we? We had Joe
hmm
Healy on, and we talked about LOLZ. See, I said it right this time. Is it LOLZ or
You
LOLZ? LOLZ, LOLZ, LOLZ. Okay. Um, and I think this week we're going to continue talking a little about LOLZ. Isn't that right, Ben?
LOLZ.
LOLZ. LOLZ.
I thought you meant Lawleys, as in the Lawless Awards.
No, we did
them as well.
We did that. No, Lollies we completely did last time.
Yeah.
That was
It's
fun. I wish I
laughing
was
out
there.
loud, isn't it? With a Z. You can see what we
Z.
do.
LOLZ.
Yeah, and it's a younger readers comic, and we're proud to be
Mhm.
looking to try and expand our range of titles available because kids need to be picking up comics and reading, especially the young
yes.
ones. So
Yeah.
that's what we're about. And we've got two authors who one's been in the industry as long as I've been reading comic books. His first gig was back in 1980.
hmm
If I tell you that he's well known for wearing a red and black stripy jersey, as basically he is now the artist in situ for Dennis the Menace from the Beano. That's Nigel Parkinson will be joining us, and Nigel's doing some work for LOLZ, which is fantastic. We catch up regularly around the calendar at various conventions, and it's fantastic. It's the first chance I really have to speak to Nigel away from a convention. He's always busy, always in demand, sketching, chatting to fans. A lovely, lovely fella. And someone slightly at the different end of the career is a young lady who has only recently moved over back from the States. She was born in Britain, but moved with her family and lived, trying to remember where the parents, where her dad was working. It's just eluded me. We'll ask her. But Matylda McCormack-Sharp will be joining us, and she's breaking through at the moment, in demand. I've managed to book her a couple of slots in between some rather large consignments that she's basically been working on. Maybe she'll be able to talk about them. She'll give us an idea about what she's up to. So really looking forward to speaking to Matylda as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet them as well. I know Vicky had got to meet
I
Matylda.
got to meet Matylda.
Yeah. What are
I
your
even have some
impressions?
of her
Oh,
things.
oh yeah, we're going to put those on the screen. Yeah, we're going to definitely show those. Okay. Is there anything else we have to go to, or should we just go to our guests? Anything else
Well, the
besides saying,
usual
"Oh,
we talking
I
about will
know.
be,
Hold on, I
yeah.
know. Like and subscribe below us. There is like and subscribe. You
Don't
see
forget
that
to do
going across?
that.
You see that going across Ben's face right there? Like and subscribe. Um, and definitely. What else should we talk about? And I'm going to put the LOLZ Kickstarter up there. Talk about the LOLZ Kickstarter real quick, Ben.
Thank you very much. Yeah, ending on the 30th of June, so another week when this comes out. And we hit goal last week, which is really exciting. Talking to the printers today, speaking to some creators about what we're doing after that. So it's looking good that LOLZ 2 will be coming out at some point. It will be up for Diamond as well.
Okay.
Distribution will be taking that. And
Other
yes, some
question.
updates as well on some other titles. So we've got some information and updates if you remind me to talk about
Okay.
Lifeboat. We've got some exciting news on that.
Mm.
And more stuff. Yeah.
All right, then I'll save my question for Diamond till the end. That's okay. Unless you would like to answer it now, Ben. I was
No,
wondering what month catalog is Lifeboat coming in? Is it out already? Is it
yes, it
June?
was in the
Close
May
to June.
catalog. So
The May catalog.
based upon orders taken,
Okay.
printing is going ahead, and we'll have news about when it will be available in the States through
Okay.
the comic stores. Yeah, we took a lot of orders in the States, which is very, very pleasing.
Excellent.
Diamond were quite impressed with the fact that it's our debut.
Yeah.
We're new on the scene as far as any American's concerned. So on the basis of that, we're hoping to, forge ahead and continue providing great books. So
Okay.
there'll be more news about that as well.
All right. So let's go to our interview right now with Nigel and Matylda. Well, welcome, Nigel and Matylda. How are you guys doing today?
I'm
Good,
okay.
thank you.
That's good. We're very proud to have you on. We feel very privileged. We know we're going to be talking a little about LOLZ. Did I say it right this time, Ben? Did I say LOLZ?
No, it's LOLZ. That's how
Is it LOLZ? LOLZ. He's
You
getting back at me
Americans,
for last
honestly.
week. He's getting back at me for last
These
week.
Americanisms, I don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to start a show. I'm going to now ask the hardest question. We always ask the hardest question first. After the hardest question, they're all easy. We do this so that you get the hard stuff out of the way. And I'm going to start with you, Nigel. Here we go. And that means that Matylda will have time to get ready for this question. So she's like the privileged one here. Nigel, who is Nigel Parkinson?
That's not an easy question.
I said it was the hardest question.
It's not an easy answer. It's
Okay.
quite a hard answer.
Well,
because
go for it.
if I knew, I would tell you. What you really want to know is what I do and why I'm here on this podcast. And what I do is I draw stuff. I've been drawing stuff, believe it or not, I've been drawing stuff for money since 1980. But I've been drawing since 1960, which seems like a long time ago when you can count, because it is a long time ago. And I just never really thought of doing anything else. So that's what I do. Weekly, I work for the Beano comic, which is known to the world except America.
Well, I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with it.
I draw Dennis the Menace and Nasher, which is not the Dennis the Menace that most Americans have.
I was actually going to bring that up a little bit later. We'll talk about Dennis the Menace. Yeah, we'll talk about Dennis.
And I draw lots of other stuff. And I've recently done something for LOLZ.
LOLZ. Is that like?
I do a lot of stuff, yeah.
Okay.
And that's who I am. I'm
right.
also known as a very well-known man about town. What else do you want to know? 6'3".
There you go.
Anything else?
Well, no, if that represents you, that's all we need. Thank you so much.
Maybe.
We'll see you next time. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, there's still so much more to come.
And Ben, is it called LOLZ because you used to be Banksy? Is it supposed to rhyme? Banksy makes LOLZ?
No, let's call it LOLZ. We'll keep it to LOLZ.
All right, we'll call it LOLZ. All right. So now, Matylda, you have had a chance to listen to Nigel's answer, but now you get to come at it from your angle. Who is Matylda McCormack-Sharp?
Still a difficult question.
Of course, hardest question. We said that.
Matylda McCormack-Sharp is I am a nearly 28-year-old artist who has also been sort of drawing for as long as I can remember because I didn't know what else to do. Just felt like the right thing to do.
Right.
And I'm making my way into the industry step by step.
All right.
So, and also done some work for LOLZ.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I'm excited about.
Okay. Next question. This one should not be hard because we got the heart out of the way. And this is for both of you. What are your geek creds? Matylda, you get to go first.
My geek creds.
Yep.
Well, I have a dad who's pretty high up in the geek rankings.
Yes.
He's a comic artist, Liam Sharp. So that sort of puts me up on the ladder there. And thanks to him, I've grown up around all sorts of stuff. So I was watching Batman the animated series when I was tiny, and Dark Crystal. I really like Muppety stuff. And Doctor Who, big fan of Doctor Who. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What have you thought about the new season? Because we have the season finale this weekend.
Yeah, we do. Me and my brother, we're like bond over it a lot.
Yeah.
So we've been dragging mum and dad to the TV going, it's on. We've been enjoying it. We're We were a bit unsure at the beginning, but
I think I think a lot of people were a little unsure, but I know when I'm reading social media that a lot of people, but when it got to I think 73 yards and beyond, they started responding very popularly.
It feels like Doctor Who again.
Yeah. And well, I like Space Babies. I had no problem with Space Babies. I enjoyed that.
That was fun.
All right. Well, okay, Nigel, your geek creds, please.
Well, I'm not quite sure what geek creds are.
Science fiction and fantasy faves from your life. What you
I see.
Grew up on.
It's the Doctor Who and 42 stuff. I see. Well,
okay, that sounds like a bad thing when you say that.
Well, yeah. What I can tell you is I did see the very first episode of Doctor Who ever. I've been looking forward to it all week. 1963. And I did see the first radio version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
1978. I had listened to that as well.
Did you buy the vinyl, Nigel?
I did. The double blue one. Yeah, that was re-recorded. It was great. I got it from Destination Dean Street, if you remember that.
Yes.
A badge with I drink Pan-Galactic Goggle Blasters on it. So that's quite good, guys. I'll tell you one thing that I did do, which is quite interesting, was when Thunderbirds was first on TV, which is the Sylvia Anderson show, September 1965, I sat in front of the TV and drew all the characters. And by a strange fluke, I found that drawing a couple of years ago. And it's actually not bad. No. It's not bad. Apart from that, I'm afraid I've done anything about the latest Doctor Who. I literally haven't had time to even put my TV on. It might not even work anymore. That's how.
Vicky, why don't you ask the next question?
Let's see who to start with.
Oh, it's choice.
Nigel. So why don't you? Well, you're the first one that shows up in my videos.
Yeah.
There you go. What's one to know? Come on, you can ask.
Well, tell us a little bit about when did you know you first wanted to be an artist? What was the first thing you did? What was the first thought you had that I like to draw? I wanted to do this, even before you knew you wanted to do it as a career.
Do you want a long answer or a glib, funny answer?
Okay, you can do funny,
well,
and then you can give us the real.
Do the glib, then do the long version.
Okay, well, the glib one is I've always wanted to do it, and so I have.
That's a good answer. That sounds like a Billy Connolly answer, actually.
He got it from me.
Okay. All right.
The long version is that I always wanted to do it. I always practiced doing it, and now I'm doing it, and have been for a long time. But I'll tell you what it was that this is quite. I think this is quite an interesting story. When I was 17 months old, my mother's father, my grandfather, was looking through a book and at the dining room table, and I sat because we lived in his house, and I sat next to him, picked up one of his pencils. He'd been a draftsman for the local corporation, so he knew how to draw a bit. And I picked up a pencil, and I in my mind, I always told the story that I remembered doing this, and I'll tell you why I know what it was in a minute. I drew a circle. Well, I thought it was a circle because I was trying to draw a car. Because in those days, I was very interested in motor vehicles, which I'm not now. No interest at all, in fact. But I was very keen on them in those days. And I remember doing a couple of these things, and then he looked at them. He said, "Can I have a look at that?" He looked at them, and then he looked at me and he said, "That's very good." And I thought, well, I'll carry on doing it then. And so I started. And the funny thing was, this is what's really creepy. About 4 years ago, I actually found the book. And I was looking through it, and I thought, oh, that's funny, because that's what I remember drawing. So someone else must have done the same thing. I wonder who it was. And it took me 4 or 5 goes at looking at this book before I realized, no, that is actually what I did, because it's and then I looked at the bottom, and my dad had written at the bottom, drawn by Nigel, October the 30th, 1960.
Oh, wow.
And from then on, I just carried on drawing, and it never, like I said at the start, it never crossed my mind to do anything else. And
That's fabulous.
I never sort of went to the extreme of looking for a job or learning how to drive or learning how to cook or anything. I thought other people can do those things.
This is what the universe wrote, and that was it.
It was strange because I don't know whether I had a sort of a talent to do it or I just wanted to do it, but I just wanted to do it, so I have done, and it's all worked out quite well. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. So Matylda, growing up in a family with an artistic father, you want to rebel, you don't want to do the same thing. So why did you decide to become an artist? What was it?
I think it's a similar situation where I was obviously encouraged because, artistic parents. On my mum's side, there's a lot of creativity as well. So they were very much fostering a creative environment, and I really took to it. So I just, if you look through my old children's books, I've drawn on every blank space there is. And
you made your own illustrations?
Yeah, I'm going to draw this one.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, and I just kept doing it as well. So here I am, still doing it. And also not driving.
Common enough thing. It's common enough.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fabulous. And so you kind of see yourself continuing along this vein. You're 28.
Although, of course, different kind of style of drawing than my dad.
Well, yes.
But still
but that's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How did Starhenge come about that you and your father worked together on that?
Yeah, I think he just really liked the idea of collaborating. We've got another collaboration that's been kickstarted recently. That's a poem book that he wrote years ago and was going to illustrate, and then ended up having a child that wanted to illustrate. So with the Starhenge, it was just like a nice. His character Amber is around my age, so he felt like she might have her own artistic voice and want to so I'm kind of channeling her story and parts of it. So it's quite a nice serendipitous situation.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Just use of the word serendipitous tonight.
Thank you.
Let's not leave it at one. Come on. I could have said it, couldn't I, about my
yeah.
I've missed the chance.
Just pulling it out.
I'll look like the idiot of the group. Go on, carry
on. Okay. Nigel, I know you've been running a studio system with assistants since, I guess, 20 years now, or longer, actually, and you've been working with Nika Nartova as your color artist.
Yes.
How did that relationship come about? And what's it like working in that environment with assistants when you're one of the only people in the country that does that?
Well, I mean, I don't know what it's like to not be me. I met Nikki or Nika or whatever. Her name's Nika, but we call her Nikki.
Yeah. Okay, Nikki.
English. Okay. She's a sort of honorary Scouser. She's from abroad, but she's actually an English person now. I met her, as you say, 20 years ago, and we were just having I think we were having a coffee or we were having lunch or something, and she started doodling on the paper tablecloth, and I thought, oh, that's very good, someone who can draw. And then she said to me a couple of weeks after that, I'm not very happy about my job. If I ever left you, would there be any work for me with you? And I said, yeah, I really need an assistant, because at the time I was doing about 10 pages a week, and I'd been asked a couple more, and it was pencils, inks, and full color. And in those days, it was marker pens on paper and going to the post office and sending. So there's a lot of work involved in it. And so I said to her, yeah, there probably would be some work for you. So about 2 hours later, she phoned me up and said, I've quit my job And
I'm ready.
Talk about pressure there.
But the interesting point about it is that she worked for me here where I am, and then she had to go back to she went back to Greece for quite a few years, and then she wanted to come back, and I said, well, why don't you come back and we'll do something different? We'll because by now we were using computers as well as. Came back and we decided, well, she decided really that we would attend Comic Cons because I'd done one or two and not really liked them because various reasons.
They can be rough.
Yeah, but she decided she wanted to see Britain, while she was still young.
Yeah.
We set up a system where we got a car and we asked people who had asked us me before to do Comic Cons if we could both come, and everyone said yes. And we've ended up actually that was in 2015, and we did 3 that year. And this year I've just finished my 104th Comic Con.
Wow!
So the next one will be 5th. That's is that not right? So 106th then will be the Berry ones.
Yeah, I got to say, we obviously all see each other on social media. It's how we communicate, isn't it? And reach people who need to know what we're up to. It seems though that almost every weekend you're at a convention. I manage one a month, and that feels pretty hectic, I must admit.
Lightweight. Yeah, I like to do 3 a month if I can.
Wow.
It's not always possible. Yeah.
Fantastic. And you get a guest slot. As I'm a publisher, I have a different route to having a stand at places. So when you're looking at the criteria for a new convention, is there things that you look out for? Because I have this saying, and I don't know who I took it from, but British Comic Cons at the moment seem to be a bit of con because there's not many comics in them.
I get you. Yeah, there was one 9 minutes walk from where I am now, which is where I live, which had a so-called Comic Con, not a single comics artist involved. And so I thought it was not because but that would have been convenient for me, and also for them because they wouldn't have to think about putting me up in a hotel or paying travel.
Wow.
Yeah, I was at a show the week before the one you're discussing, a very small one next to Lime Street train station.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah,
and that was more of a community event. And I'm really happy to pitch up and kind of support those things because as a publisher, I get remainder books. I can be really quite generous. I want to talk to kids, do this, which is why we're doing LOLZ, so we can get books out to a younger reader. Our reader age is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But people were saying to me about that other show, "Oh, are you not going?" And I'm like, well, I have to tell you something. For me to appear with the books, it's hundreds of pounds. It costs hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
And I may not get anyone who would be interested.
Yeah. It's a real investment. Unless you're sure you're going to get a return on that. It might not be very big. I mean, I've done cons where I've walked away with 35 quid,
Yeah, sure.
But it's been good experience. You've either enjoyed it mixing with your colleagues and newcomers or the fans, or it's just been a pleasant thing. I did one last year. I won't say the city it was in. It wasn't particularly successful money-wise, but it was such a lovely atmosphere. I was really pleased to have done it. And there are others where it's a frantic atmosphere, and you don't get a chance to even look up, and you make a lot of money. So that's fine too.
I suppose it depends what you want from a show. I mean, I work with, as you appreciate, probably. We work with a lot of artists who contribute to what we do, and I've built a lot of relationships. And I consider Lou Stringer to be a good friend now. I've worked with Lou for 5 years, and I've seen Lou at shows where he's going to have an aching wrist at the end of it because he does not stop drawing. Yeah. And I know that's good because the little pile of money grows up here. But I've seen him literally not even get to go to the loo, not being able to go to the loo.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, that happened at MCM for me recently. I didn't stand up the entire day, and that was the Saturday, which was 8 a.m. it opened, and it finished at 7 p.m. So that's quite a long day.
And are you just doing on-spot work, or
Yes,
do you do commission pieces to be collected as well?
I don't do that because I'm pretty much solidly. I will get people coming up to the table and wanting me to draw them. And that's mainly what I do. I draw them as if they're a character in the Beano, which is my thing that I've decided to do for various reasons. We can't go into all the legalities, but that's one of them. And I just have a queue. I mean, I used to have a literal queue stretching down the aisle, but I've had to say, well, I'll take a photograph of you and do your drawing. Come back in an hour.
Wow!
Because everyone gets fed up of having my in front of them. Yeah.
Are you doing Mark Jackson's MarkWHO again this year? Or
no? That's next weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I'm doing Brighton. I'm doing. Decided to go to the coast.
Oh, I'd like to hear how that goes. That'd be interesting.
Yep, let you know.
Yeah. So Matylda, we met at a convention, didn't we?
We did.
They're nice at Bedford. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has
really
Bub,
nice.
has Bub been back in touch, or Jeff, with regards to your attendance this year? You can make
we're not sure. I don't know if we're going this year, but if we get asked, I think we'd like to, because it was really nice last year.
And obviously, Vicky, you met at LOLZ.
Yes.
Yes, which was also
What other
great.
shows have you done, and what's been your experience of coming back? Because obviously we can also talk about the fact that you've only recently moved back to the United Kingdom. So
yes. So I've done Thought Bubble last year, and I'll be doing that again this year, which I'm excited about. That was really nice last year. I saw you there as well. Yeah. That was fun. That was nice because it was the first one I'd done without Dad there, so going out on my own, which was
what happens at
nice.
A convention stays at
a convention. Yeah.
That is the rule.
That is true
for you as well.
Yeah.
No parents allowed. So that was really nice to have my own little area and meet a few other people, build some connections there. Hopefully I'll see a few more familiar faces, but yeah, I'm still kind of a newbie at it, so it's quite nice building up connections and all of that, and building up confidence to be drawing while I'm sat there, because that always,
I've got to say, that would be, for me personally, I used to draw as a younger man. I was an animator, no problems there, but in front of people, on demand, I want that drawing. I mean,
you what?
What about those people who say, could you draw in the style of, or can you do this character? Like, this character, I don't know that.
Some of the requests people make on demand, you see that, and they ask everyone, people who are new, people who've been around the block a few thousand times. You watch it and you kind of go, so you're asking for the moon, the stars, and the sun. And I don't care if they've been in the business for 50 years or 5 minutes. Let's temper our expectations. And what the heck? I will tell you that sometimes you see that at cons and or they come with a stack of 50 things, and you just go, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Nigel, can I
remember
ask
they're
you,
human.
Yeah, because without again going into the legalities of the issue, some of the comics which you work for have never really led with it being about the artist, has it? It's always been about the characters, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, we'll leave that there. I'll park it.
The thing is, look, I'll tell you what it is that we're talking about DC Thompson mainly, who do the Beano, and they've never wanted to really be part of a convention. They've done probably a handful over the years, and 2 or 3 of them I was at. They asked me to, be their artist there, which I was happy to do. But they kind of look upon it, I think, as a bit of a chore to have to, because they've done their 9 to 5. Yeah. Now it's time for the family at the weekend. I'm okay. I I'll work every day. In fact, I do generally work 6 or 7 days a week because it's just something I've always done. So for me to go out to a different city, and I'm actually going to one I've never been to before this year as well, which is a change, and to sit there and meet a lot of people and draw them and see their excitement and enthusiasm about the characters that I draw is great. And that kind of keeps you going in a sort of a way that you feel that, because in the olden times, and Ben, you'll remember these olden times, in the 80s, 70s and 80s, comic book artists didn't really know each other. There were a few in America who would meet at these things called conventions. But
Yeah.
we didn't really happen here. We had one or two here. And unless you could get to Birmingham or to the Earl's Court or somewhere like that, you would never meet anyone. And it would cost something like £5 to get in, and you just couldn't afford it because you're struggling, And so you're sitting at home drawing, you don't know if people even see your work, never mind if they like it. And then when you go to a con and you say, can I have, with the Beanos being for kids of all ages, not just 7 to 77, but 6 to 97, I would say. So,
6 to 106.
There you go. And they come up, and some of the kids especially are just like so excited. I heard I did a thing at the Eden Centre. It was either last year or the year before. I'll have to check on my calendar to find out where. I think it was the year before. What was it last? No, it was the year before. And I did these 7 shows in 3 days showing how to draw. And just before the last one, the last but one lot were leaving, and I heard a little voice from the front say, "A Beano artist here, but how?"
Hey, yes. Can I just say, you turned me into that 6-year-old at the library in Shrewsbury at the last Shrewsbury Con that Shane Chebsey did.
That was a good one.
Where you did, I think you did a whole raft of characters, but I came in when you were working on the Banana Man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love Banana Man.
I think, and the way you said, "Start with the eyes, then we do the shape here," and all the kids were following you. Then you had a little show and tell at the end, and they were just like, they were amazed that their stuff looked like yours. It was just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You see, you do enthuse them because you don't just say, "Copy that," and you don't just say, "Draw like this." You show them step by step how it's done, and they all do it their own way, but they all do it really well. And you see, some kids say, I can't draw. And I said, well, just have a go. And I remember that Shrewsbury one was, is it Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury? I've never been sure. Anyway, this is what it's like here. I noticed there was an overflow room as well, which would also follow what I did. So that was.
Oh, wow.
I got to say, I've got to paint the picture. So Nigel's standing at an A-frame.
Okay.
I can't remember whether you had an assistant or not who was providing you paper and pens, or whether you were, because I've been a teacher a lot of years, and I know what it's like to kind of deliver to kids.
Yeah.
There must have been 30, 40 children in that room, and there were parents who, parents are getting a bit excited as well. But the way you talked and you continued and you got the continuity and the flow going and that rapport was just, I was just like spellbound myself. I was learning as a educator.
I've always thought if you go to a thing like that, as an ordinary member of the public, and you see someone who is tongue-tied and unsure and mumbling, you're not going to feel very happy. You're going to feel, what was that good or was that no? But if you go and someone is really thrilling and dynamic and makes it all worthwhile and exciting, you think, oh, that was a good show. So I always thought, well, why not put on a good show? Why not just go and do a good?
There you go.
Okay.
So the thing is that the reward for those kids, it's not about having a Nigel drawing, it's having their own drawing.
Yes.
And and their mum or dad is going, wow, they're going to put that on the wall somewhere.
Totally
they do. And they come back. There's quite a few people who come back, people of all ages who come back year after year after year to the big shows I did, like in London and places like that, who say, remember last year you did this for me? And I always say yes, because once they start talking, I generally do remember. I remember what I did for them. And they asked me to draw all kinds of things. I mean, there's some science fiction geeky people who want me to draw, Captain Pike from Star Trek meeting with someone from Star Wars with Dennis in the middle. Just weird things, So I have to do it. and you get kids who just said, there's one little boy, I think it was at London, who had drawn a picture of himself looking up at me and saying, "To Nigel from your #1 fan." You know, it's just
Oh,
taken all that time to do it because they'd seen me the year before and been in, and I'd done a presentation, and like you say, Ben, they went away and sort of started to say, well, I can do this. You know, it's as easy as that.
that's awesome.
Yeah. I want to bring it a little bit away from convention for a second, Nigel. I know that you're the official artist for Dennis the Menace for Beano. Now, we've been talking a little about Beano, but to our watchers, people watching and listening, can you tell everyone what the Beano is a little more than just a funny book for all ages?
The Beano is a weekly sort of anthology comic of 1, 2, 3, 4-page stories, always the same characters. And it's been published continuously almost every week. During the Second World War, it's published bi-weekly. I think that's the term for fortnightly in America, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was published bi-weekly, continuously for 85 years. So it actually
that's
Batman and almost Superman. It actually sells. Now, this is the interesting thing. It actually sells more per month than any of the American titles in America.
Wow.
And it's a much smaller country. We do sell quite a lot in places like Australia and Canada and those kind of places, but it's mainly in Britain. And it's like throughout the world, I suppose Mickey Mouse and Batman are the two main figures that people know.
Yeah.
And in Britain, it's Dennis the Menace is the character most people know. And they all know him. And I've just been lucky enough to be in charge of drawing him for, I think it's officially 12 years, but unofficially about 30 years.
Nigel, how satisfying was it for you if you heard the news? Because, of course, during COVID, our comic started the 77, but there was a huge uplift in the subscription for the Beano, and that was sort of industry news. The figures were released. I mean, so how did that how did everyone working on the Beano feel about that at that time?
I don't know how anyone else felt. I know myself and Lou and a few of the other contributors felt that we were doing a good job. We were pleased that we were cheering people up during what was a very difficult time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For us, personally, we were just carrying on drawing as usual. I mean, apart from the conventions that we weren't going to because there weren't any, we mainly just sit at home drawing anyway. So it didn't make any sense.
Apocalypse? What apocalypse?
We're having fun.
Now, in America, we have a blonde-haired, adventurous young boy, mischievous. They made a movie with Leah Thompson, Walter Matthau, Christopher Lloyd, comic books everywhere, comic strip.
And of course, the original radio show.
The radio show,
original
exactly.
TV show from the 50s and the 60s.
I was going to bring up the TV show. I used to watch it all the time. But I know the British version, completely different. Can you tell everyone, can you describe who the British Dennis the Menace is? What's the difference?
Well, I once sent a letter into Roy Thomas's fanzine Alter Ego because someone had said,
I remember that. I remember that magazine. Yeah.
It said, can you believe that, interestingly, the British had their own Dennis the Menace for a few months in the 1950s. And I said, well, can I just stop you there? We've been publishing continuously in colour, we've done a good job. The main difference is our Dennis actually is a menace. Whereas the American Dennis is just some kid,
because you'd love
just
to
a normal
have
kid.
Our Dennis the Menace, you'd love to have in your house, and he does some mischief. But I've looked at Dennis the Menace over there, and no, not coming to my house. No,
he really is a menace. What's the name of the neighbor, Mr. Joe? What is it, Mr. The American Dennis's name?
God,
Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson.
Lord.
Mr. Wilson. Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson.
In the reply to my thing in Alter Ego, someone had written that because I'd sent a drawing of our Dennis playing electric guitar. He was doing a real Dave Davies of the Kinks kind of thing. And they said, what would Mr. Wilson make of that next story? Because Dennis's neighbour's hairdo. But we love it. He's a menace, but I mean, he doesn't mean to be. It's just that he gets overexcited and he doesn't know when to stop. And he's got an unruly mop of spiky black hair and a dog.
Yeah.
who's based on that black hair, called Thrasher, because he likes to bite things, you know. And everyone in Britain seems to love him. But a little secret thing, and not many people know this. But I didn't really like it when I was growing up in the 60s.
No, really?
Oh, wow.
How outrageous! I was a member of the Beano fan club. I want with a little badge with the shaky eyes on it. You know.
No refunds, Ben. No refunds.
Yeah. And you have to help me out. What's the name of Nash's? Is it a little brother dog or another little? Is there another little dog?
It's his son. Nipper.
It's his son.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a long story. It's too arcane to go into all the details.
Well, no, we have time. Go for it. No.
Can I ask Matylda? Did you not wishing to be kind of like saying the obvious thing? Did you want to be Dennis or
Matylda?
Dennis or Minnie?
Probably Dennis. I was usually identifying with the boy characters when I was younger.
Okay. Yeah.
Baby Nasher.
I never got into trouble. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Yeah. Not me. Now, Matylda, I've seen some of your illustrations for children books like A Garden of Flowers by Michael Rosenblum. I've also seen your work in Rewriting Extinction because, we've had Paul on the show before. I actually have a question about that in a few minutes also. But do you prefer sequential art like a comic book, or do you prefer illustrations where you're describing words in a children's book? Which do you prefer?
I think I really like both. I like being able to have projects where I'm doing both because they're so different. I really like the one image where you can have all sorts of things going on and looking around and telling a story just in that one image. And then I really like having the I grew up like really loving animation, so that was one of my big inspirations. And I would like do little flip books and post-it notes and things, and then I'd just draw sequentially and then realized that was comics. And then was like, oh, that's what my dad does already, so that works out. But yeah, no, I really love both for different reasons.
Yeah. I was going to go on, and I forgot to ask this question, which I was going to about the Paul Goodenough book. We got to talk with him, great deal of information from him. And I asked this question to people who worked on the book, on MarkWHO77, and on my other show, MarkWHO42. Are you part of the problem or the solution?
Oh,
I ask that question all the time, Vicky. It's not a stretch.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, she's definitely not part of the problem.
Part of the problem by accident, trying to be part of the solution to make up for the fact.
That's fair.
I've been a vegetarian most of my life, so it's always, I can remember drawing posters when I was in primary school about like forest conservation and extinct animals and all of this. Well, I had a friend when I was like 12. We walked around her neighborhood and we printed out posters and we're like putting them through letterboxes and trying to raise money for like the RSPCA and all of this stuff. So it's really happy when I was asked by Paul to contribute to that book because it's very close
it's a great
to my heart.
book. Yeah,
we
and
were
it's
very
great because you can
lucky
say
to,
you worked on the best comic book,
the most important comic book. Yeah.
There it is. Paul was very kind when I came forward and asked if there was anything which he felt would be suitable for LOLZ. So we've got the Surfing Hippos of Luanji, which really, really feel pleased to have, because we want to make sure that, the comic book also has something in it which is going to be thought-provoking as well. It's important things. We've got to get some messages across. And the Beano does that as well a lot, doesn't it?
It does,
Nigel?
yes. Yeah. We've been taken to task a few times about it, but I just say, so what? What we're doing is just protecting and we're sort of led by the readers, who are mainly kids, and they write in, email in, and DC Thompson has focus groups in schools, and they say what they like, and they like inclusiveness, and they like friendliness, and they like things like that, and they dislike things like that guy in America with the big tie, and there's lots of things that they actually say they don't like. So we make fun of things like that. We have a mayor of Beano town who has a big tie, and he says the most ridiculous things like, "I don't want you. I just want your vote." Who would say anything like that? And we actually put things like that. He tried to build a wall around Beano town once to protect Dandy town. So they don't know what I mean.
Brilliant. No, absolutely.
Lovely.
And that's why you've got the old kids as well who look at it going, if they do it, we can do this. We can do this as well. It's validating what we do. Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nigel, I looked at some of your other works throughout the years, and wow, a lot of Jerry Anderson stuff, Grain Chill. Yes, I know what Grain Chill is, folks. You've Harry Hill's TV Burp. I love that show. I love that show. And then doing Mock the Week with Dennis the Menace, that illustration, and I probably can't put that illustration up there. But wow, how'd you get into all that? How'd you luck out on all that stuff?
I don't know. It's like I say, I just assumed I'd be doing this sort of thing with my life, and I've just done it. I really have no idea how it happens. It just, I mean, the Harry Hill thing was interesting because I'd met Harry for some reason. Oh, I know. I knew his the leader of his band. He has a sort of small band, and when they do tours, they have musical bits.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'll just go to the show and go backstage and say hello to my friend, And Harry was there, and Harry, when he found out what I did, he said, "Can you draw my daughters for me?" And I said, "Yeah." And then about a year after that, the editor of the Dandy said, "You know Harry Hill, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, how do you know that?" He said, "Well, it doesn't matter how I know." He said, "Do you think he'd be the editor for a week for the Dandy?" And I said, "Sure he would." So I phoned Harry up, and before I'd even said exactly what it was, I'd got as far as the word dandy, and he said, "Yes, I'll do it." Okay. And then when I went to see Harry about a week later, and I showed him the drawings I'd done, and I said, "So you don't have to do anything. We'll do it all, or we'll just, put you in for a week." And he said, "I thought I was going to be in every week." And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure that's fine." Yes. So the unfortunate thing is, no one thought to write the stories. I had to end up drawing them and then writing them after I'd drawn them. It was always the least nerve-wracking way of doing things, but it was the only way I could do it because I'm not really very comfortable with writing. I found it rather tedious seeing all that black and white letters. I'd much rather draw something interesting and then figure out what they're saying and so on after it. So I loved that, and all the other stuff just happens. Just people asking. I did a thing for Amazon last year. They just asked me. I did a thing for. What was the thing I did? I've done loads of stuff. I'm surprised myself with stuff I've done.
Yeah, you got Paul McCartney on the last issue of the last printed issue of the Dandy. Now
that was interesting. Because when I was a little kid, I remember he did the Beatles. He was in a group called the Beatles.
Oh, you know what? I never knew that.
Some little group.
Never heard. No, I saw them on Doctor Who the other week. That's how I know who they are. I saw them on Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They were on Doctor. He said in an interview when he was asked what his ambition was, he said, facetiously, to have my picture in the Dandy. And so it was, as I found out the Dandy was closing down, I thought, so it's now or never, I contacted him.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Liverpool, he's from Liverpool. Obviously, we all know each other's phone numbers.
Oh, totally. You're right. Just like I know everybody who, that's how it works.
Yeah. We all know that. And we all live in the same street. Yeah. So I got in touch with him and said, now or never. And he said, great, go ahead. And I said, we'll write it and we'll draw it and then we'll send it to you to get your okay. And he said, no, it's all right. I trust you. He did,
Wow.
Would you say that? And we did it. Two interesting stories come up, very brief. We did it. We had to reprint the last issue. We printed 1 million. We had to print another 500,000 because everyone wanted to see it. It got in the news all around the world. You probably noticed Paul McCartney's lifetime ambition. And then about
it was in the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, I saw that. No.
Front page, yeah. He phoned me up and said, "Can you send me a copy? Because I haven't been able to get it in the local shops." I had to ring round, and I said, I phoned the Beano office. "Have you got 2 spare copies?" And they said, "No." I said, "It's for Paul McCartney." He said, "Yes, we've got 2."
We'll pull it out of the safe for him.
This happened to have 2 spare. Not for me. I've only been working for them for 40 years, but for him, yes. So I don't know, about 2 weeks after that, no, a week after that, he said, "Thanks for all that you've done. It was great." And he said, "By the way, certain members of my family think it's the best thing I've ever been involved with." There you go.
Bump. Okay. You know what? We actually should probably talk about LOLZ a little more, right, Ben?
Would be good.
Would be good. I mean, they have them on. Who wants to field this question? Vicky?
Well, I had other questions, but I'll be happy.
We'll go back to your other questions. We'll go with this one first. Okay.
Okay.
I don't mind going along.
Yes. So LOLZ. Let's see. Let's go to Matylda. What in the world did you do in LOLZ? And how did you get involved with LOLZ? Other than the fact that Ben came knocking and said, "Please."
Well, Ben came knocking and he said, "Please."
He does it so nicely too, doesn't he?
He does. No, I was
so what can we expect to see from you?
Involved. Well, I have these 2 characters called Trevor and Derek, and they are an elephant and a mouse. And I've been drawing them since I was 11. And I did a little mini comic for them when I went to Thought Bubble. Actually, it was for Nice convention. I'd made a little mini comic to take with me of Trevor and Derek and how they met. And I've always wanted to do something with them, so I felt like a good opportunity to have a little use them as the characters in the strip. So they just have a little beach adventure. They get into.
So that's on the inside of the comic. Do you want to discuss anything that might be appearing on the outside of the comic?
Yeah.
Go for it. Right. Yeah. There's a little something in there.
That thing on the outside that people can see.
Too. Yeah. There may be a variant cover. So that's in the works, and that's exciting. Happy to help out with that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds.
And I get
fabulous.
to draw the other great characters that are in the book.
I just got to say at this point, I've been emailing people, just sort of keeping people at tabs about what's happening and trying to loosely make sure that things are. Unlike these 2 who had their stuff in well early, okay, that's fine. Other people need to be reminded, deadline 21st, got to do this, got to get that done, got to get printed. I had a lovely email from one of our creators, and she's backing it to the extent that she actually wants 100 extra copies because she's going to be selling it because she just loves the covers that she knows are going to be produced as well. And she works
that is sweet. Yeah, very sweet.
Yeah. Always I think that's just lovely when you know that people themselves are involved. So don't worry if you don't go for 100 each. I'll save a few. Paul McCartney wants them. Nigel.
Yeah, if Paul wants them, we can get them to
sale.
We can get them for
best
Paul.
thing you've
Paul
ever
has signed one for Matylda.
Yeah.
So Nigel, how did he talk you into it?
I don't know.
I think I kept chasing you at every convention. I kept meeting you. I'd go, "So Nigel, do you remember the last time we chatted?" Because we see each other for about 2 minutes before the show starts. And there's this phrase, and Matylda, you've probably come across it as well. "Yeah, I'll catch up later."
Yeah.
Never happens.
Never
because everyone's too busy.
It took you about 2 years to finally speak to me.
I know, mate. I know. You probably thought those, wasters, they're just never going to get together. But the thing, so what happened, Nigel? What actually happened was, when John Wagner phoned, and then when Ian Gibson phoned, we kind of had to go, right, we're just going to have to do these books first, and it was just.
I can see that.
Yeah, last year was one of those years, really. And no disrespect to anybody who got their work in early like you did, and various other people who are waiting and waiting and waiting. But there we go. So it's going to go to Diamond, and we may well get distribution and move it forward. So
Sweet.
Very sweet.
You got to wait for good things. I think good things come to those who wait.
Well, I know I'm excited to see what both of you guys have.
I'm excited too.
LOLZ.
Yeah, we'll go.
I can't wait.
So Nigel, do you want to say a little bit about the work that you've? By the way, we've gone with the 2-pager. We've gone with the 2-pager because you remember which one it was then. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned it. There's room for one or the other. Okay, so I've done Goldilocks, which is my 2-pager, and it's an update of the Goldilocks story. We all know the Goldilocks story.
We all know Goldilocks.
You do not know it? We've done it. And, it's very modern, because instead of just blundering into this house in the forest or the woods, she's actually booked it on she's booked a Airbnb, and she's and further hilarious adventures follow from that. So there we are.
I cannot wait.
I can't wait for that. That sounds like a great description.
I've done a second one, so if you'd ever do another one, I can do a part 2.
Fantastic. That's great to hear.
I love it.
Well, we've got another young man who's just so Mike Walters, who I'm going to be meeting at Bury. I'm taking him as our guest. He's just broken through with Rebellion and has been working on Lowborn High, which Anna Marksova is working on, and has done Department K, which is a Judge Dredd Mechanismo story. But he's just got a Marvel tryout, Ooh. It's like, I'm working with these people and suddenly like the big boys appear, and they come like, I'll have them, point them off. So we got him to do some work, and he's got a 2-pager to do. Then he's got like something for another publisher. You two must know exactly what this is like. And then something else comes along and suddenly you're going, oh my days, I've got 15 things on the go at the moment, and it's just... but he'll make it.
Yeah, Mike's a cool guy.
No sweat, Mike. I know you got it.
Sweet.
He's a cool guy. He was on the show before. Really nice guy. Very nice guy. Vicky, you said you had some other questions to ask.
I actually had a question for Matylda, because I noticed that in some of your work, you it's something I'm loving that I'm seeing. You do some amazing work, and you've got kind of a cute quirk, but then you touch on some really deep issues. And I'm going to be honest, you're the same age as my son. So I'm going to be completely honest about my age, but I love the fact that,
she's the baby on the show. She's the baby on the show this week. What?
Be nice.
The youngest person on the show.
She's the youngest person on the show at the moment.
I'm the oldest. Well, no, not today.
Yeah, we're not going to play that game. Every time we play that game, it goes horribly wrong. We're not going to play that game. Okay.
Unless we play the generation game with Bruce Forsyth.
I'd like to point out that she has done comic strips that touch on HIV, perimenopause. She's in Rewriting Extinction. She's done Yawa the Adventurer. I mean, these amazing, and then even some of your stickers and some of your artwork just have these wonderful touches. And I love the fact that you can have something that is both cute and biting, cute and have a purpose. And sometimes it is not that deep, and sometimes it is so deep. And I love seeing that in the up and coming artists, because I love what I'm seeing in this new generation, where our generation had to fight to get there. And you at 28 are going, I'm going to do what I want, how I want, where I want. And you know what? Today I feel like I'm going to do this. And in looking at some of your art on Instagram and on your Etsy page, and I'm just like, she's like, I feel like this. And this is what I'm going to do. I love that, because I'll tell you, in the 60s, 70s, even 80s and 90s, sometimes we had to fight to be able to do something that had a purpose without getting labels. And it's just so nice to see that you feel that you have that freedom because that's just, it's great.
Yeah.
Because it just, that wasn't always a thing.
Yeah, it
So,
definitely feels
kudos.
like a privilege. Thank you. To be
Yes.
able to freely say whatever online as much as I can. I just have a lot of strong feelings.
Did you ever feel
fighting
like
for the-
you were getting encouraged to not do?
I get there's always, so you know, sometimes I might post something and be a bit like, ooh. But yeah, usually I think it's the nice thing about like being freelance. You don't really have a boss that you're like,
Right.
you know, no one's telling you what you
Right.
can or can't do really. So it's kind of you're up to your own discretion really, which is, you know, you can take or leave if you want to
Do you
talk about
sometimes
things, if you don't
feel
want to talk
that
about things.
art also gives you the opportunity that not that you hide behind it, but you can
I
kind
probably
of
do.
but it's like when you're creative, sometimes people give you more leeway because they don't always catch it at first.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you can kind of sneak stuff in there.
Yes, because we've seen that definitely. I mean, you look at things over the decades, how many times have things been double entendres and we've snuck things in. I mean, my God,
Yeah.
Star Trek
The more you're aware about it, yeah, the more you can see that.
Exactly. It's amazing the things that people didn't catch, and you're like, how could you not catch that? That was obviously in your face. It was right there. But okay, you guys missed it. Good. We didn't, but okay.
It's like a second language.
Yes. I'm sure, Nigel, you've definitely felt some freedoms over the years with your artwork.
Yeah, funnily enough, when I started, I felt a great pressure that people were going to be reading it. So I have to present it. I have to present it best. I didn't want people to read too much into me, you know, to think they knew who I was. So I would try to build this wall of this is professional. But that was, you know, in the late 70s, early 80s. And from about 1988 onwards, I decided, well, you know, who wants a shrinking violet? Who wants a wallflower to present work? Why not be, you know, brash and obnoxious and right out there and say what you think? And I must say it's worked quite well these last 40 years. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, let's talk about projects in the future.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Nigel, do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about in sort of work or conventions you're going to appear at, things like that?
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff on, as usual, and I don't remember any of it. I just know over the list.
Do you have a website that you posted on?
The website, definitely.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's called, it's Nigel Parkinson Cartoons.blogspot, something like that. I sometimes update it, you know. But what I normally do, I try to encourage people to come to Comic Cons if they can. We do them all over the country, and we've done them abroad as well. We don't just do them in London and Manchester or Glasgow, you know. We do them all. Because then they can get to meet me, to see what we do, to be encouraged to do their own thing, and maybe to get a drawing by me, which they can treasure forever. And we do get coming back with photographs of me in their bathroom, you know, a picture that I've done or on the stairs. And so they come back year after year, and they've got a few of them, which is kind of, you know, it's gratifying to think that they think that much of you when. Like I said, you know, I started out sitting in a room by myself, not knowing if anyone even saw it, you know, so it's nice to know. So I've got some very interesting projects coming up, various publishers, independent publishers. Obviously, LOLZ is one of them, but I've got others, and I'm really looking forward to, if I haven't already done them, doing them. And if I have already done them, they're great. So there you go.
Nice answer.
Yeah.
There's no sense lying about it, is it?
Perfect.
Matylda, same question. Future projects.
Yeah, I've got hopefully some more LOLZ coming up, which will be nice to be involved with. And I have a big project, the biggest project I've worked on so far, that I can't really say anything about because I've not signed contracts and everything. That's really exciting. So yeah, really looking forward to being able to talk about that when the time comes.
All right. Do you have a website?
Yeah. So I post on Instagram, so it's at Matyldraws, and my website is www.matyldamay.com.
Are you doing any appearances this summer, Matylda?
Maybe this summer. We don't have any confirmed yet, but definitely Thought Bubble in November. So I'm excited to.
Do you sort of do them as Team Sharpie? Is that the sort of?
Generally, when I'm doing it with Dad, I don't think he'll be at Thought Bubble. I'm not sure yet, so we'll.
No,
we'll
he might have. I understand that there could be another thing that he has to go to in America.
Yeah, he's got a few American cons coming up.
Well,
so
can I just say, I mean,
going to be very busy.
Amazing that he's been Eisner nominated for.
Yes, really, really
wow.
exciting.
He was also the recipient, of course, of
the LOLZ Award.
Award.
Well,
that's even bigger than the Eisner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike Perkins was thrilled to, be involved with that as well, and it was Vicky was there as well. Vicky, it was a great show.
Really great night.
Oh, it was fabulous.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully make that, if we can, if it works, more regular. So I mean, it's interesting is that I'm not sure I don't know other major awards which are available. Used to be when I was growing up, or as a young reader, I knew about something called the Eagle Awards.
Oh yeah.
Were you ever involved in those, Nigel? Was there anything for the youth market down there?
No. It still isn't. They're very shy on awarding the Beano anything because there's a long list of reasons why not, but no, they're not interested.
Right. Well, we'll change that. We'll award it to Lou.
Yeah, well, why not?
Well, if you can't come, we'll try to award it to you.
It depends where and when, because I'm a very busy.
I know you are. Absolutely. I mean, the hardest working man I know on the shows, as you say, you do 3 a month, which I think is just amazing. Yes.
Well, I've only got 2 in August, so if you know of one I could do in August, I could.
Hey, slowing down in August.
I don't know what's going to happen.
There's one in Leeds which someone has just organised and got in touch with me on the 25th, Sunday the 25th. So I'll be in touch about it.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh no, I'm doing one that weekend.
You see.
If it was the 17th, I'd be all right.
You'll be all over that. Yeah, I know. Well, you have to go and look at. Do you keep abreast by looking at John Freeman's?
I do.
List?
I do, but I kind of rely on people messaging me and saying, "Will you do it?" And then I always say yes if I'm free. And I got asked to do one in Barnstaple the other day, which I had to. I didn't really turn it down. I just said I'll need a hotel for 2 nights because it's such a long way. 7 hours it would take.
North Devon coast, right on the Atlantic part, isn't it? Almost practically sticking out there. Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it would only take 4 hours to get to Exeter, but because of where Barnstaple is, it's not that far from Exeter. But it would take that long to get there.
So that A39, it's a terrible road.
Yeah.
As soon as we get off the M5, that's it. I'm turning back.
Okay. I hate to do this, folks, but we're having such a great time, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Let's do some quick housekeeping. Ben?
Well, the Kickstarter finishes on the 30th of June that we've been discussing in some respects tonight. So LOLZ, it's already hit goals. So if you back it, you're going to be guaranteed of it. We have some rewards, which and I've got to discuss with Nigel outside of this, but he's going to be signing some prints, which are available. Quite a few of them have gone, Nigel. So I think I'll be sending you them. We'll discuss it after the show.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant. Thank you very much. The rest of our catalogue is available at the 77comic.net. And we are just thrilled and excited that we will have these guys' works in LOLZ coming out soon, and it will be available from that shop. It will be I think we're going shipping from the middle of July, so look out for that.
And where can they get their stuff, back issues and things like that?
The 77comic.net. It's
excellent.
all there.
Now, we were having a discussion. If you missed the Kickstarter, you were saying something about Kickstarter's new thing they do?
Yeah, they've got this extension thing that basically the person who creates a Kickstarter can have an option where basically you can keep on getting people sending their money in. So if, for example, you're speaking to someone here who's, I don't know, got automobile problems and has to replace a part on their car and it's expensive and has to cancel
that would be terrible, whoever that
pledge.
is that you're talking about. Yeah.
And they won't have any money to the 1st or the 2nd of June.
July. I never heard of such a thing, Ben. This is crazy.
That sounds hokey to me.
Yeah, exactly. So you can pledge on the Kickstarter, but like I say, we stock them in the shop pretty much as soon as everyone's had their comics sent to them. We're hoping that we might have them out definitely in time for anyone who's attending London Film Comic Con. We're going to be there. Looking forward to that. Are you going to that, Nigel?
Oh yeah, I always go to that.
You're a fixture. I
love Olympia. It's like a second home.
Yeah. They say the usual place, sir. Would you like the usual space?
You do actually.
It was very hot inside last year, didn't you think that? I was quite kind of warm. It was.
This year was 2018. It was absolutely stifling.
Right.
Last year wasn't as hot. Obviously, you haven't been to every one of them, you see, Ben.
No. It's a big show. I mean, you artists, you stroll up with a little bag of pencils and a bit of paper. Friday morning. I've got to be there Thursday afternoon with all the loads of comics.
I will be there on Thursday afternoon. Hey. With my high-vis vest, and I'll say hello and see you.
I think that's hilarious. We have to wear a high-vis dress. I know. Dress? Did I say dress?
I don't know what memo you got, Ben, but I'm wearing
I'll do a different show. It's quite a different show. It's very good.
That does happen at Olympia sometimes. Can I just say, Ben, funnily enough, last week I was looking at my Facebook page and your name came up and it said, Ben Cullis, 77 mutual friends.
Whoa, that's I think I'm gonna unfriend him and then friend him again, so I become 77. Yeah,
fantastic. Well,
when is this going out? This podcast?
This show should be out, like I was mentioning, probably the 20th or 21st of June. In a couple, like Thursday or Friday.
If it's Thursday, the 20th of June, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday! Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you!
Happy birthday! Okay. On that note, any more housekeeping for you, Ben?
No.
77. Okay, then I'm going to do my housekeeping because I like doing that as well. Folks, if you're interested, Vicky and I have a little old show that's been going on since 2012 called MarkWHO77's Universe. We talk about science fiction, comic books. We've had a lot of 77 people on the show. We also talk Star Wars, Star Trek, but originally we talked a lot about Doctor Who. And if you go to our YouTube channel, MarkWHO77's Universe, you can find a playlist with all of our old shows. There are at least about 150 celebrity interviews from Doctor Who, Babylon 5, Tron, Star Trek. It's crazy. Listen to our show. It's going to be about bi-weekly, a regular show now. It's at MarkWHO77.com. You can also find it on podcast platforms around the globe. One last thing, and if I remember correctly, Vicky, we are right now in the middle of a review, and so this is coming out right before the final review of the latest Doctor Who season.
Yep.
And we've been talking about it. We had 2 shows before, and we're going to have this show wrapping up the 2-parter, and it should be fun. I can't wait for it.
I know.
Yeah. Other than
one more episode to go.
It's this. I'm excited, and of course, if this is coming out on Thursday, don't forget BBC4. You've got the Tales of the TARDIS special thing. I think it's at 8:00 p.m. I think so. We in America, we don't get it. Well, yeah, right. Okay. On that note, any last words, Nigel? Anything else you want to say to our viewers?
No, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry that you can't understand what I'm saying because of my accent. Good luck, everyone.
Matylda?
Yeah, same there.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad you were here.
You guys were wonderful.
Yes, you were. On behalf of myself, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and Ben Cullis, with our guests, Nigel Parkinson and Matylda McCormack-Sharp, we are so glad you watched to it too, but watched our show, MarkWHO77. It's available on 77 Publishing. Is it The 77 Publications or 77 Publishing on YouTube now.
YouTube channel, yeah.
But what is the YouTube at? Is it the 70 or is it?
Yeah, it's at the 77 Publications.
Okay, so it's still that. Okay, so yeah, join us. Get there. There's a playlist. All our previous shows are on. This is, I think, what, show 16? I think show 16, but the 12 was a two-parter, so technically 17. All right. Until next time, guys. Bye.